My solemn greetings to all of you who are watching this video now and who intend to watch this video on another occasion. This is the Remembrance Sunday of the Gregorian year 2020. And I'm addressing you all live from the little room, in fact, the little chamber of my residence, from which I am accustomed to address my friends and others who watch this video. Strangely enough, this video is showing right to left as if I were watching myself or viewing myself in a mirror. Left to right and right to left. Well, Remembrance Sunday is supposed to be, to the best of my understanding, a day on which we remember those who sacrificed their lives in order to protect others. During the First World War, followed by the Second World War, millions of lives were destroyed. I'm referring, of course, to human lives, notwithstanding the lives of the animal kingdom belonging to other species. My late great-grandfather, my late grandfather served in the army during the First World War and was stationed both in England and in France during the Gregorian years 1914 to 1918. And many of our family friends and relatives were also drawn into the Second World War. But I am fully aware of the fact that although most of my relatives returned home safe and sound, too many others were not able to do so. Today we remember particularly those who died in the course of this war, or these wars. Wars are never anything positive. There is nothing we can win in a war. The lives which are lost, they're lost for all the time. We cannot possibly gain those lives ever in future from the moment they are lost. On any succeeding moment. They are precious lives. They were precious lives too. But indeed, all these people did not suffer in vain. They had a purpose. They had a desire. They had an intention. Their real intention was to see a world free of dictatorship, free of injustice and inequality, free of oppression, free, if I may use also the expression, of violence, even though they themselves were victimized by severe violence, claiming their lives. Let us not forget the sacrifices they made during their lifetimes. Let us not forget what others underwent during those 2 world wars and various other wars which took place since the First World War and thereafter, and even taking place today. Some countries in the Middle East and in Central Asia are ravaged by wars even today, causing millions of people to suffer even now. Tens of thousands of people to leave their homes and become refugees in other places. Too many of them are totally in a situation beyond our comprehension. While you and I, my most respected viewers, sit and watch this video. Too many of them are not merely in an absolutely uncertain stage, even in a state of uncertainty, when they do not know what their future holds them for them. But indeed, this is not the only criterion with which many people are faced today. While wars take place, too many others try to take advantage of such situations. Even too many greedy, selfish people try to gain something. Even they do not hesitate to purchase people as human slaves. Yes, you heard me correctly, as human slaves, even today, while I am endeavoring to address to you with all due respect, yes, indeed, with all due sigh, with all due despair and sadness. Too many babies are being trafficked out of their countries because their parents believe that being adopted by others, the babies might have a better future without really knowing what holds for those babies' future. Too many children are being trafficked, and too many of them, if I may say so, again, with all due regrets and sighness and sadness of my heart, are falling as victims, not merely of slavery in order to work as domestic servants, but also as slaves, falling into the trap of immorality, unable to come out of those circles, and perhaps never in future. While wars continue in various countries, or in certain countries, true wars against true humanity continue even today. As I said, too many babies, too many children, and permit me to add, also too many women are being trafficked and sold as slaves of objects for others. And unless, my most respected viewers, you and I do something against such malpractices, such heinous and shameful crimes, such evils, if I may use the expression, nothing can, out of such vicious circles, other than only wrongs and evil results. We need to act while trying to prevent wars because, as I already mentioned, in a war we have nothing to gain. We are true losers. The lives which we lose can never be replaced by anything or anyone in the world and elsewhere in the universe. But we can do something, not merely in order to discourage wars like the ones fought during the years 1914 to 1918, and also 1933 onwards, intensing between the years 1941 to 1945, Gregorian years. But we can do something even in fighting against inhumanity, the true wars to which we all of us, are called as soldiers. We must combat such inhumanity, such malpractices, such heinous crimes of human trafficking and illegal slavery. Not long ago, someone posted a video onto one of my Facebook profiles or accounts, and also a photograph showing a little girl tied, her legs tied, and sitting on a floor. I imagine, without elaborating everything, that you, my most respected friends and viewers of this live video, will be able to comprehend on your own merits what was expected of that little girl. Forgive me for not mentioning everything in detail, because some of the viewers may well be ladies, and I was taught to respect ladies and not to utter everything which is on my mind in their presence. But she was not, or she is not, the only victim, not the sole victim in the world. Tens and thousands of others like her are also being trafficked, are being abused, severely exploited, exposed to immorality, deprived of morality, deprived of their true livelihood. And unless you and I, my most respected friends and viewers of this video, do something, those victims remain in an utterly helpless situation. I am a believer in the Almighty God, and I have no hesitation in admitting it. But I also believe God sends us onto this earth, entrusting us with certain tasks, sometimes with greater abilities than many others, even powers of various kinds. It is for us to discern on our merits whether we want to use that power to the greater glory of our Creator, in protecting, in enhancing, in promoting the interests of His creation, or we want to destroy it. Destroy them, if I may use the expression in plural, like various dictators and tyrants did in the past and do even today, and had to fall someday. And I remain convinced that those dictators and those tyrants who tyrannize our world today and even exploit the helpless of the helpless are destined to fall sooner or later. They will be remembered merely as tyrants, not as great men. I have great respect for various individuals who came from very modest backgrounds and showed grave, I beg your pardon, my apologies for this error, great bravery in pursuing others to do something good. Permit me to name someone, even on this day when a certain country is confronted with a very difficult situation. This man was born in that country, he was the first president of that particular party. I am referring to none other than that great President Abraham Lincoln, the first Republican president of the United States of America, or perhaps in those days, old America. He came from a very modest background, but taught us true humanity and climbed up the ladder of true humanity until he became the most distinct figure of his nation. I'm referring to certain other people, someone born on the Indian subcontinent, went to England, read law, called to the bar, went to South Africa, in those days belonging to the British Empire, was thrown out of the first-class compartment simply because he was a non-white person. But he did not give up. He campaigned against injustice. He returned home to India, campaigned further, and ensured Indian independence without much violence, at least on the part of those who believed in him and in his morals, in his integrity, in his logic, in his struggle, in his campaign. I'm referring to none other than Mahatma Gandhi. We also had a person who came from a different country, who was not an Indian, a lady who came merely as a teacher and fought a mission to exercise her duties as a teacher, but returned back to one of the worst cities of India, in those days known as Calcutta, in order to serve the poorest of the poor. She never gave up her struggle until her death at an old age. I'm referring to none other than late Mother Teresa, today called Saint Teresa. A man also in South Africa, the same country in which Mahatma Gandhi was confronted with so many obstructions and oppositions, showed great humanity in forgiving those who persecuted him, imprisoned him, tortured him. I'm referring to none other than late Nelson Mandela. Those people were individuals, but they showed the world that even one single person can make a difference in our world, in moving others to join him or her in the campaign of true humanity, in pursuing true humanity, in sacrificing themselves, and in reaching the goal which they aimed. So why should we, you and I, my most respected viewers, give up so easily without playing our part in the world, in battling against grave inhumanity of human trafficking, illegal slavery, injustice, and corruption of various types and kinds? Let us take this pledge, this very pledge. I beg your pardon. Let us take this pledge on this very Remembrance Sunday, recalling the fact, the very striking, distinguished fact, that many human beings sacrificed themselves in order to secure our freedom, even our existence of today. That we shall not keep quiet, when we see injustice taking place in our world. But we shall, and permit me, just as a token of my gesture, to stand up in reality and admit that we shall fight lawfully, without violence, without distinguishing ourselves, without discriminating others, for justice, for others, in using our abilities in true service of those who are in true need of such help and such service. Wishing you the blessings of the same Creator who created all of us and everything in the universe, and his protection on this day, and craving to remind you that he created all of us, even those victims of grave injustice, oppression, exploitation, and illegal slavery, even those babies and children. And while thanking you once again in anticipation for your coming forward to join in my campaign to speak out against injustice, oppression, exploitation, and slavery, I remain at your service. God bless this solemn Remembrance Day to all of you.